As I've said for many years, Tesla won't be the only automaker with fully autonomous electric vehicles. Tesla is clearly the market leader today with its generalized and scalable approach, which is a weird change up from what he used to say, because he said, Tesla needs LiDAR and all that stuff, but we'll set that aside. But with NVIDIA providing synthetic AI-generated driving data to any OEM willing to partner with NVIDIA, others will get there too, and valuation models assuming Tesla with winner-take-all markets share are unrealistic. Okay, so if I take that last sentence and I say, assuming Tesla with winner-take-all market share are unrealistic, I agree with that, but I don't think it's unrealistic to think that Tesla will have somewhere between 20 to 50% market share in the long term, 20 to 50 years down the road. If it comes to like the next 10 to 20, like the next 10 years, it is extremely obvious that the only company that can do this at scale is Tesla.
Yeah.
And who's to say, right? And then what happens if it's more economical for other car companies to say, you know what, instead of doing our thing with NVIDIA, I'm just gonna license FSD. I'm just gonna license FSD, right? At that point, you do get to a market take all situation, specifically probably in regions outside of China, because I think China is going to have like different things. So maybe from that perspective, it's thinking, well, China's going to have their own thing. You can't just assume 100%, winner take all globally. Okay, great. But what about in the U.S.? What about in Europe? What about in South America? What about in Africa? So on and so forth, right? Just to give a little bit of nuance there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But the thing is that Gary is also massively underestimating the TAM of how big that market is. So in his model, we can, like, even if we say 20% or 100% penetration of whatever he sets the TAM at, like Tesla's going to be more than that because the TAM's going to be 10 times, 100 times whatever he's estimating. And even if they only have 20 to 50%, it's still way more valuable than he is putting out there. Yeah, I don't know. It's just fun to see, like, because these people are stuck in the future is going to look like, some variation of the past. And that's not how disruption works. Like, when you're massively driving down costs, the entire world changes. Like, when you take a product and you cut the cost by 90%, and then again by another 90%, and it's 1/100th of what it cost originally. Like, you live in a new world. It's not the same. And we're in the process of watching this right now with space travel. But the same type of dynamic is going to be playing out in transportation, with the cost of moving from point A to point B is going to just get absolutely crushed in the next couple of decades. And transportation is a huge part of the cost of literally everything you buy. And
it's a $9 trillion market, by the way, globally today.
Yeah. The implications are just, staggering. And, Wall Street analysts want to play around with, oh, well, EV share, is going to only be this much. And then Tesla's only going to be this much of the EV share and blah, 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 blah. It's like, okay, like, fine, value the 10-year DCF on that basis. Let's see, let's put your performance up against mine and see who wins.
Has Tesla said they want to license FSD one day to the OEMs?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So wouldn't it be better
repeatedly?
So wouldn't it make sense for the OEMs to license real world data over whatever synthetic stuff NVIDIA's coming up with?
Yep.
Because when I was watching the presentation, I was like, okay, so they're making synthetic, they're doing all this work to try to figure out what a stop sign looks like. I'm like, but Tesla has 70 billion miles of all this. Like, so yeah. I guess, do you think then Toyota doesn't want to work with Tesla? Is that the problem?
I think so. Yeah, I think there's a weird, again, this is legacy auto we're talking about. Legacy auto which is a fascinating topic that the All-In guys talked about when they were making the predictions for the year, where they predicted the beginning of the end for legacy automakers, the collapse of legacy auto, which is something that we've talked about repeatedly on this channel for God knows how long.
Honda, Nissan coming to, I mean,
yeah,
what's happening here?
Huge signal, right? So you're talking about an industry that's about as incompetent. It's about as incompetent as it gets when it comes to understanding where the future trends are, because of how large they are, and because of how the culture of those companies are not conducive to fast change when a disruption comes along. They are the poster child for the innovator's dilemma. They cannot change. And so I think from NVIDIA's perspective, right, and for whatever reason, they can't change. And I think from Toyota's perspective, they're like, okay, should we partner with our competitor or should we partner with a supplier?
Right.
Right. And I think that's the idiotic MBA math that they're coming up with. It's like, well, if we partner with our competitor is going to get money from us, and then we're going to help them in some way. So we can't do that. So we have to go with a supplier because they're going to be able to give us a tool that will be able to do what Tesla does. And then these morons are not asking the question of like, okay, but do you actually have the data that you need, you idiots? Are you going to be able to put this on all the cars that you're manufacturing quickly and be able to gather the data and understand how to process the data, how to churn it through a fucking a training compute and putting it on an inference chip and being efficient with it and having a chip that's super efficient so it's not draining your battery and being able to put this on your own app and operate that app, so on and so forth, come up with the different models that you need to run this profitably, so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, are you going to be able to hire the AI engineers out of Silicon Valley that literally hate your company and think you're a retard to come to your company and actually make all this NVIDIA tool, like produce the thing that you want it to have? Like it's just two completely different worlds. NVIDIA is going to sell you a bunch of tools that you can use to create your own artificial intelligence vehicle driving model. Or you could just go to Tesla and say, hey, Tesla, may I please license your already working artificial intelligence vehicle driver?
Yeah. What's going to happen is going to be very similar to the NACS discussion, the NACS, the North American Charging Standard port that Tesla manufactured. What happened? Nobody did it for the longest time. And then when it became idiotically obvious that everyone should be on Tesla supercharger network, Ford's like, okay, fine. Props to Jim Farley for this. Again, I think from a legacy standpoint, he's still the best. He's one of the GOATs when it comes to at least trying to push their company forward. He's like, okay, NACS, we need the supercharger network. And then literally everyone else in the span of 3 months, they were like, oh, we need to do that. Yeah, we need to do that, right? Because they understood, like, hey, if Ford can sell EVs that it can tap into the Tesla charging network, by default, their cars are completely and utterly obsolete versus that legacy automaker, because they don't view Tesla as real competition. They view Ford as real competition, right? I don't know if that's still the case or not. And so the FSD equation is going to be exactly the same. They're going to go down the path of trying to do their own stupid solution. It's going to fail over and over again. They're going to outsource it to suppliers or to third parties, and it's going to get clunky. It's going to be very slow. They're going to have to manage morons to try to get this thing going. And then they're going to realize, oh shit, okay, so Tesla is doing unsupervised self-driving everywhere, and we're not able to do it. And it's been 4 years. So we should probably go with Tesla. And then one player is going to be like, okay, we're licensing FSD. And everyone's going to be like, okay, yeah, we as well. That's what's going to happen. It's obvious that's what's going to happen. The question becomes, are they going to be around for that to happen?
Yeah, and I agree, because it was really weird seeing the NVIDIA Toyota partnership, because I'm like, okay, that's cool. But I'm like, it feels like Toyota's stretching to not work with Tesla. Or to not actually use the real world. I'm like, this is cars. This is life or death. Like, we need some real world data here. Synthetic stuff is cool, but and it would probably be a great business for NVIDIA, but it definitely showed you the divides that legacy auto has with Tesla.
Yeah, they don't understand the technology at its core. They don't understand that it's a data problem. This is why XAI has a leg up on OpenAI. This is why Tesla has a leg up on everybody else. It's a data problem. It's a data collection problem. It's not necessarily, I mean, of course, the training and the inference is you obviously need that, but that's not the core. If you don't have the data to feed to those systems, you're not going to get self-driving. You're just not going to get it.
The only reason Reddit's up 400% is because they have really good crowdsourced data that's exclusive to Reddit and that they can license to these LLMs. So I agree, dude. I don't know where the hell OpenAI is going to get more data to train their models, but Tesla has all the data when it comes to training FSD.
The more time passes, the more I'm like, and this is a quick pivot, the more I'm like, OpenAI is so screwed. They're so done. They are so done. they are so done. No, like all their talent left. They have no exclusive data rights to anything, right? Their competitors are catching up rapidly. Just look at what happened with Sora and Google's solution. Their biggest competitor in Elon has first dibs on all of NVIDIA's hardware, and the talent that they have will get that up and running way faster than anybody at OpenAI can do it. Like, okay, so just fast forward this long enough, and it's like the outcome is obvious. The outcome is obvious. OpenAI, here's the crazy thing. OpenAI is Toyota already.
The thing about OpenAI that I still use ChatGPT more than anything because the model is just better than the rest of them. My question is, when does that change? Right?
Grok 3.
Maybe. Because and with GPT had an outage the other day, and Sam Altman had to tweet that like he's getting, there's so many people are like, yo, where is it? Like we're missing. So obviously they have a product that people want to use and that's growing. The question is, when do people find an alternative that's easy enough for them to be like, I don't see the difference. And then I'm like, all right, where is the moat at that point?
I mean, I don't know if it actually is Grok 3. I certainly hope so, but I think it's like guaranteed by the end of 25 that it's not even just going to be one. There's going to be several.
It's a matter of time. Yeah, it goes back to the data discussion. It's like the data is a separator. The compute's going to get commoditized. It's gonna just not matter that much. It's such a fascinating discussion, and I agree with you. Like I do use ChatGPT myself. I think O1 Pro is a unique solution that is good at what it does. It really is. But it's like, okay, but that's just that you're just letting the hardware go for longer. You're just letting it think longer. So it's like, so who's going to be able to do that better? It's a company with more hardware, right? And so and the companies that have the hoard of talent will be able to make that hardware work better over time.